Hello, I'm Kyle, and you're listening to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com. I'd like to talk a little bit about a recent movie that I saw called The Innocent. It's a French heist comedy thriller written and directed by Louis Garrel, who a lot of people will remember from his work in French cinema, in The Dreamers or Ma Mère, and really that was really just him getting started. He's become one of the biggest French actors of the last 20 years, and he's now trying his hand at directing, and this is actually his fourth film. Well, the story of it is it's about former actress Sylvie, played by Anouk Grinberg, who she teaches theatre classes to prisoners as a means of reform. Now, her favourite pupil, Michael, played by Rocket Dizem, he wants to put aside his past life as a career criminal and go straight. The two fall in love, and on the eve of Michael's parole, they're married in a small ceremony. When he's let out, the two they work together to open up a florist shops and start to begin a new life. Now, Sylvie's adult son, Abel, played by writer director Lewis Carroll, is he's quite dubious and doesn't quite trust Michael. Now, Abel's a widower who his current only close relationship that he has is a platonic one with his late wife's former best friend, Clements, played by Nomi Merlant. Now, this isn't Sylvie's first marriage to a criminal, and Abel really fears that history was repeating itself. Now, although he's really skeptical at first of Michael and he doesn't trust him, he does begin to, and soon they come together, and it seems like that maybe Michael has turned a new leaf. Maybe they're going that him and Sylvie are going to live happily ever after. But that is until Michael's past comes knocking and pretty much threatens to destroy everything. And soon, Abel and Clements and Michael are swept up in this world of crime and deception. Now, like I said, Lewis Carroll, he's had an interesting career. Like, one of his pretty much, I believe it's his second film that he was ever in, was directed by Bernardo Bertolucci, that being The Dreamers with Eva Green and Michael Pitt. And since then, he's like I said, he really has become such a respected French actor, and this being his fourth directorial movie, in this movie, just like his other films, the other three movies that he's directed, he plays a character called Abel, and that's kind of like his alter ego. It's kind of like a kind of a little quirk, I think, of Geralt's that he finds that if he's playing this character, it allows him to be basically it allows him as an actor to have more range and be able to portray something that completely different than what he's used to. And this story, he's actually been inspired by his own mother, who she was an actress and she actually worked teaching theater workshops in prison. And interestingly enough, she made a film years ago, pretty much about the same kind of story, but this being kind of from the son's perspective. Like that's kind of what Garrel wanted to do. Pretty much take on the same kind of story that his mother made with her film, but he wanted to do kind of a different spin on it. Now, while this is billed as something of a comedy, I think why I've and it is a funny movie. Don't get me wrong, but I think why the humor of the movie works so well is just how dry the rest of the film is. Like a lot of other filmmakers and a lot of other French filmmakers would make this story and go completely farcical with it. It would be completely ridiculous, no seriousness to it whatsoever. But Garrel, like he avoids this and he plays it straight. And like Abel as a character, like he does get himself into awkward moments, and like many of them are really funny to watch. But I think there's something very grounded and real about the film's story. Like I think that's what makes it so funny is that like it is such a serious thing, but I don't know. I think it there's some moments of real intensity and things that are really kind of where you're worried about what's going to happen, or maybe Garrel's character Abel is going to get caught, uh, kind of when he's tracking Michael around, trying to see what he's up to. But sometimes when he does get caught, it's actually really funny because of just what a buffoon Abel is. Like that's kind of what I don't know. It's something about that that really makes it hilarious to watch. And again, something that made the film so real was just how deep his four primary characters in this movie are Abel and Clement, Sylvie, and Michael. Like, all of them have their own problems, and all of them have their own. I don't know their own little quirks and things that they're kind of lying about. Like that's actually something I found really interesting about this movie is that the whole subject of acting it the movie opens with Michael giving a monologue, kind of a scary monologue about loading a gun and using it in a crime, only for it to pan out and then find out he's actually this is part of a theater class that he's in. And the interesting thing is that acting isn't just something that's used as a maybe a wink to Geralt's mother's former job. No, it's something that actually plays throughout and keeps coming up. It's like a theme that keeps repeating throughout the film. Deception and lies and pretending to be something that you're not. And I think because of that, it really makes Michael's character an interesting one because you're never quite sure how how honest he's being, which is pity because you really do like the character, but just in the back of your mind, you're like, can I trust this guy? Is he going to be pulling a quick one on Abel? Like, is this all some kind of a sting, some kind of a trick? But I don't know. It's kind of it adds an interesting layer to the movie. Um, a lot of the movie actually plays out as something like a detective noir thriller. Like I said, a lot of the movie is about Abel kind of stalking Michael through the streets of Lyon, France, and Garrel uses split screens and stylish editing, and there's something about the movie. It feels very kind of like Hitchcock in a way. Personally, I had only recently watched, or rewatched, the Roman Polanski Harrison Ford movie Frantic, and this movie actually reminded me a lot of Frantic. And Frantic isn't at all a comedy, but I don't know, just the style of this movie, the tone of this movie, really um, yeah, it in some ways, like I said, it's kind of more of a thriller than it is a comedy, and again, like the seriousness of the tone of the movie is kind of contrasted by just how much of a buffoon Abel is. Like Abel isn't a spy; he works at an aquarium. Like he doesn't know what he's doing when when he's trying to tail somebody. He's making an idiot out of himself. But and that's what makes the comedy in the movie really work. And I believe that the director of photography, Julian Prabad, he's filmed Leon France just beautifully. It's I mean the setting of this movie. There's some amazingly beautiful shots in this film, and I guess even if it was a completely serious movie, it would be great. But I don't know. Just there's something about it that makes the kind of the twist in the seriousness and the comedy somehow both of them work at the same time without kind of overlapping or one being lessened by the other so much. And this is something of a heist film, but there isn't. That's something that more comes into play later in the film. It's probably best to know as little about that as possible, so I won't really go into it. I'll just say that it is kind of an interesting twist on it, and yeah, that's where the acting and the whole idea of pretending to be somebody that you're not, and uh, I don't know, kind of in pretending to be somebody that these characters are not, they actually kind of reveal things about themselves that are true. And I thought that was a really interesting thing. Again, great mixture of comedy, great mixture of drama. I if I was going to give this a score, I'd give this a 4 out of 5. I really did enjoy it. It's humorous and thrilling at the same time, and very few movies I think can actually pull that off. So yeah, I highly recommend this. 4 out of 5 for me, definitely. All right, and now you're listening to the Popcorn Conspiracy on CentralCoastRadio.com, and we'll be back right after this.